Right now, it seems like everyone is angry. According to the study done by AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety, they found out that 80% of U.S. drivers express significant anger and aggression and road rage. They did so in the past year behind the wheel of their cars. Approximately 8 million U.S. drivers engage in extreme examples of road rage, including purposely ramming into another vehicle or getting out of the car to confront another driver. Many drivers reported engaged in the following types of road rage. Now get this: purposely tailgating, 51%, yelling at another driver, 47%, honking to show annoyance or anger, 45%, making angry gestures, 33%, trying to block another vehicle from changing lanes, 24%. Does those sound like anything you've done? One of the study's researchers concluded inconsiderate driving, bad traffic, and the daily stresses of life can transform minor frustrations into dangerous road rage. Far too many drivers are losing themselves in the heat of the moment and lashing out in ways that could turn deadly. Now, James presents a biblical way for one to practice anger management. He says in chapter 1, verse 19, "My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to become angry, because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires." Verse 21, "Therefore get rid of all moral filth and the evil that is so prevalent, and humbly accept the word planted in you, which can save you." So first, I must get rid of the ways of the world in my life. When done wrong, I cannot react like the world reacts. I've got to love my enemies. So how do I know to do that? Well, number 2, I must put God's word in me. I must plant it deep, so when I get angry, I do not react like the world does and attempt to get even, but I respond like Jesus would react. The word prevails against my flesh. Now, number 3, I must decide to be quick to listen. When someone ticks me off, I need to stop and ask God why they're acting like that. And I've learned that hurting people hurt people. So instead of becoming angry with them, I need to decide to have pity on them. And fourth, I got to get hold of my tongue. I got to make a rational decision to be slow to speak. When someone tries to push my anger button, I need to take both hands and grab my tongue. And when I speak, I think I know how to do this. Proverbs 15:1, it says, "A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh," well, harsh just brings up anger. Everyone struggles with anger in their life. Now, I can hear you right now. You're going, what about righteous anger? Well, there is a time for righteous anger. Jesus showed us an example of righteous anger when he cleared out the temple. But how many times did Jesus clear out the temple? I'll answer that for you. 2 times in 3 years. The rest of the time, he showed us how to love our enemies. Jesus, the living word, provided the ultimate example of anger management when being done wrong. The example of his reaction to injustice on the cross is legendary. James understood how deadly wrong human anger can be. He said, because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. So let's stop acting like the world and let's start acting like Jesus. In his book called Being Nixon, A Man Divided, author Evan Thomas recalls the occasion when then President Richard Nixon received word that former President Dwight Eisenhower had died. And Eisenhower asked Nixon to deliver his eulogy. Thomas writes, sitting by the fire on a cold early spring evening, Nixon began to muse with his speechwriter Ray Prince about one particular quality that set Eisenhower apart. He said, everybody loved Ike, Nixon said. A little envious. But the reverse of that was what Ike loved everybody, Nixon went on. He never hated his critics, not even the press. He'd just say, I'm a little puzzled by those fellas. Price, could picture Nixon's mind working, catching himself. Nixon knew that what he had just said was not quite true. It was too much to believe that Ike never felt anger. The difference was that after a blow-up, the anger passed while Nixon let it fester. At some level, Nixon might have wished to emulate Eisenhower, but he couldn't. Possibly he didn't want to. Resentment, though toxic, fueled Nixon. And right now, everybody seems to be angry. But you have a choice to be an Ike or a Nixon. And let me say it better than that. You have a choice to act like the world or act like Jesus. Let's practice anger management. Let's be like Jesus.